Welcome to The Bridge, the official podcast for the University of Maryland, Baltimore School of Pharmacy Patients Program. The Patients Program is the bridge between the community and researchers. The Patients Program created this partnership to help researchers listen to the community's voice in order to build a bridge to an effective learning healthcare community. Here's your host, Rodney Elliott.
Ladies and gentlemen who are listening, I'm talking to Rochelle Jones. She is a foster grandparent program manager for the Springboard Community Services. Did a little research as she wears many hats, as we all do at particular times in this space of community providers. But today, specifically today, I'm going to be talking to her about her role at Springboard Community Services when it comes to grandparenting program manager. I'm going to be honest with you, Rochelle, the first time I've heard of this specific resource that you're providing for the community. Can you just share with me a little bit about who you are and what your role is?
And I'm Rochelle Jones, program manager for the Foster Grandparent Program. So, the program is a program for seniors 55 and older, where they volunteer in the classroom to work with children one-on-one. This is a program that has been around since 1965.
Okay.
Our agency, formerly known as Family and Children's Services, took on the program in 1973. So this year, we're celebrating 50 years. Yes, it's soon. 50 years of service to the seniors here in Baltimore City and the children, yes.
Oh man, that is fantastic. This is a milestone year for the Patients Program as well, because Patients Program was created 10 years ago. And we're coming up on our 10-year anniversary as well later on this summer. Our executive director, Dr. Mullins, he started this program and he recognized that there was a gap. There was a gap in the research and the community, and he found a way to connect that, or he found a way to bridge the gap. Yeah. Technically, which is why we're here on the bridge. Get it?
Yeah.
Listening?
And that's what this program does. It bridges the gap between older adults and children.
Okay.
So it brings them together, and it's helping both sides learn. Our seniors are learning from our children, and our children are learning from our seniors.
Talk to us a little about what you observed along this journey as far as the grandparents learning from the kids and vice versa.
Well, the grandparents, technology has taken over.
Yes.
And now the demographic that I deal with are, like I said, 55-year-olds. That's where you can actually come into the program. You have to be at least 55.
Okay.
So my demographic is 55 to 93. And I believe at the event, you met my 93-year-old, Ms. Davenport, yes, who's been in the program now, I want to say 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So with that, our volunteers have been really learning technology, especially when the pandemic hit us. We started by giving our volunteers tablets. We gave our volunteers email addresses. We gave them Zoom and Google Meet. And we have case management here at our office. Our case manager got with all of the volunteers and helped them get internet service through Comcast. And it was called Internet Essentials. And it was just a minimal cost, which we reimbursed them. We brought them in small groups and trained them on using the technology. That way, they could participate in the virtual classrooms that were going on throughout the pandemic. So, but it worked out great. But not only that, they were allowed to connect with family that they had seen, or they were able to connect to their church services, which a lot of them really appreciated that. So it helped out a lot. And where the children come in is that a lot of those grandparents are raising their grandchildren and great-grandchildren. So once they got that technology, those children were able to step in and help them right away and show them what to do, because this generation now, they're growing up in technology.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they don't even have to touch it and they know what to do.
Yep.
So they were able to help my grandparents out a lot. We did our monthly meetings via Google Meet. So I was able to see them every month. And it was an experience. I'm going to say that because I had to let them know that just like they could see me, I could see them.
There was a particular project that I was working on where we were engaging with seniors, older adults, and we were doing that in person before the pandemic. We did something similar to what you did as well. We had, hey, we need to keep this project going, so we figured out a way to reword it and say, hey, we can't go into the buildings or we can't meet them, but can we do something on Zoom? That got approved, but we had to go through that whole process of teaching them and, giving them the Zoom 101. To be quite honest, we were learning that as well, too.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Right. So, and that was something that they benefited as well, because there was one particular focus group that I did, I'll never forget this, where two people on the group didn't realize that they were in the same building. They were neighbors. So after the session was over, they asked me, could they use this platform to have meetings with the other members in the building, because they were socially isolated. And they were able to have a weekly Friday session where they got on the Zoom and just had a ball. So that was great to be very innovative.
Pre-pandemic, we had about 71 volunteers. Post-pandemic, we dropped down to 45. Because
I was going to ask you, so what happened?
Well, the pandemic hit and no one expected that. No one expected to be isolated. And just with my volunteers, they were so active and so used to leaving the house. This program gave them a purpose every day. They got up, they got dressed. They looked forward to going into the classroom to see the kids and have the kids call them grandma and give them that hug that they've been waiting on all day, But a lot of them fell into depression. They got sick. So we lost a lot of our volunteers, and I'm going to be honest, to death from the pandemic, but also to fear of going back into the classroom, because as you know, with children get sick all the time. And that was one of the things that my volunteers had to deal with, was a cold. So we lost a lot of volunteers, and we're doing our active recruiting, trying to get more volunteers, and we want to give them a purpose as well. Just like the volunteers that we have now, they love this program. They love going in and seeing those volunteers all the time, the children all the time.
I bet, because I'm sorry, I couldn't remember the name of the volunteer that I met with you as well. What's her name again?
Miss Davenport. You met two of my volunteers. You met Miss Juanita Davenport. She's an 83-year-old.
Yes.
And you also met Dolores Johnson. Miss Dolores I'm not sure. I don't think she's quite 80 yet.
Well, all I know is both of them were exactly what you said, vibrant. And you talked about 93 and 70-something years old, out on a Saturday afternoon, going to each table, every table, getting all the resources, but also they were spreading the word about the program.
Yeah.
And I thought that was fantastic, because after they saw you stop at my table, they came around and gave me a flyer and told me to pass it around. If I know anybody that want to participate, give us a call, because we need help, or we want other people to get involved. And that's fantastic when you have your members of your program speaking on your behalf as well and encouraging folks to get out. We pride ourselves on that with the Patients Program, and we engage as well with our stakeholders. So that's a testament to the great work that you and your staff there are doing to, again, provide that opportunity for them to stay active, for them to stay engaged, for them to have a purpose. I think that is great. Rochelle, can you talk a little bit about what the schools or what the principals or teachers or even the kids thought of it, how they were impacted by the grandparents coming in and being a part of their day?
We are primarily in Head Starts and daycare centers. So
Okay.
we're our biggest group of children that we work with are 4 and below.
Okay.
Okay. So, and what we do is we try to place our volunteers in the community in which they live because it benefits the children to see the volunteer not only in the classroom, but out of the classroom.
There you go.
Okay. So that all of that continues. Everything that they learn from that volunteer in the classroom continues outside of the classroom. But our sites, we have 24 sites around Baltimore City, which
Okay.
includes elementary schools, daycares, Head Starts, faith-based. Union Baptist is one of our Head Start centers, and that's where Miss Davenport is, and she's in there dancing with the kids. The teachers love them. You know, one time I went in there just to check on everyone. I like to go around to the sites to see how everyone's doing, just to show my face and let the teachers know, not only the whole site supervisors and directors know that they have my support, but also the teachers, they have my support. And they can call me at any time and ask any questions. So I went there one time and Ms. Davenport was in the classroom and the teacher came over and she's like, "You're not taking her, are you?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not taking her anywhere." She's like, "No, you can't have our we need them. Our kids love them. Don't they? Don't you guys love them?" And they're like, "We love her." You know, I'm like, I'm not there to take anyone. You know, I'm just there to offer my support and see if anyone needs anything. But the teachers always say they can't get through their day without having that volunteer. A lot of times that volunteer takes on the children that are behind everyone else in the classroom. That's their to work one-on-one. And they will take that child to a quiet corner or table, and they're sitting there. They get their assignment from the teacher, and the teacher will tell them what they need to work on with that child, that individual child. And they're working with them. And before you know it, that child is back up to where the rest of the children are in the classroom. So it's a huge help to the teachers because that teacher doesn't have to stop what her lesson and go over something with, you know, maybe 1 to 3 kids in the classroom where that volunteer can be responsible for doing that and getting them back to where the rest of the children are. So they really appreciate it. And it's really of no cost to the sites.
That was my next question because you mentioned volunteer. Typically, when we hear the word volunteer, it's like you volunteer your service and your energy because you want to, because you're, you know, passionate about something, or you just try to help a friend out. But in this particular case, being a foster grandparent isn't only volunteer. You get something back.
All of our volunteers, except for one, gets a stipend every month. And that stipend money, it's not a lot of money. It's $4 an hour, but it's non-taxed. You don't pay any taxes on
Tell me
it.
why that's important. I know you talked a little to me about that when we first met, but tell me why, the fact of the matter that it's $4 and it's non-taxable. Why is that important to a senior? Why should they know that?
It's extremely important to our seniors out here. You know, all of our seniors, if they're on Social Security, disability, if they're receiving something from temporary cash assistance or food stamps, HUD housing, they all need some type of help. And we found that 90% of Baltimore City seniors are below the poverty line.
Mm-hmm.
So that little bit of money, that $4 an hour that they get, helps to offset the cost of food, medications especially, clothing. So we make sure that they're getting that money every month. A lot of different programs do it the same as they pay their employees. We give the volunteers one check at the end of every month for the hours that they put in. And a volunteer can earn anywhere from $250 a month to over $7.
Depending on their availability.
On the amount of hours that you volunteer.
That's
We
good.
only require that you volunteer a minimum of 20 hours per week.
Okay.
So, and I'm going to be honest, we have a lot of volunteers that are working 8 hours a day.
But you
And Ms. Davenport is one of them.
Miss Davenport at 93 years of age is working 8 hours a day, 5 days a week
Yes.
at Union Baptist Head Start.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is.
That's
Yes.
fantastic.
And you know what? She does not miss any time.
To have an opportunity to stay active, to actually help a young kid or help a teacher, limit the distractions. I know it gives them a sense of, what word I'm looking for, a sense of accomplishment, a sense of need. And then for the organization to recognize that, hey, we're not just acting for your time. We're going to figure out a way to compensate you and make sure that, we try to help you out as much as we can to offset that, because that's something that we found out here in the patients program as well. Seniors are living below the poverty line and need a little bit more help, or all the help they can get to deal with the food deserts that's going on right now, the expensive medical bills that they all have. So to get a little help from a program like this, I think is fantastic. And kudos to you, Rochelle, and the staff for finding a way to make an impact and have an impact on the older and younger generation. I love it.
We don't only place the volunteers in schools. We help them in other ways. Our agency is an outpatient mental health facility, so we can help them with therapy. We have case managers here that help them with housing. We also have a food pantry that our volunteers participate in, so they're able to access our food pantry as well. And I just I don't know if I made it clear, but the stipend that our volunteers receive monthly doesn't affect any entitlements that they currently have. And that's one of the questions that seniors ask when they come and they want to volunteer. They want to make sure it doesn't count as income, and it doesn't. So if they're on the HUD program or the SNAP program, it's not going to affect any of those entitlements.
Glad to hear there are also more things going on than just providing foster grandparents for our community. Rochelle, before we close out, I just want to ask you one last question. What's next?
We're expanding our youth program. We have a youth resource center here. You'll have to come and visit and tour the building here.
I will.
We have a youth resource center downstairs where we help homeless youth, and they have access to our resource center. They can come in, they can work with the case manager, workforce development. They can do laundry. We have lockers here. We have the food pantry available to them as well. We have computers that they can use. We're just doing what we can to help our communities. Also, for FGP here at SCS, now that we're celebrating 50 years, we're having our 50th recognition ceremony. We're excited about honoring our volunteers. I have several volunteers that have been in the program more than 15 years. Our one volunteer has been with us for 19 years. So I'm looking forward to honoring all of our volunteers, whether they've been here a week or 19 years.
Yes.
We honor them all at all of our recognition events. So we're looking forward to doing that. And also, I want to try to do some fundraising for them.
Okay.
We realize that during the holidays, it's a stressful time for them, trying to fix a meal or provide for some of their families. So we're looking to do some fundraising to raise funds to hopefully help with some of those holiday meals.
That's awesome. You guys are recognizing the needs and addressing them head on, and that's fantastic, Rochelle. I knew this conversation would be good because I knew there were a lot more. There's a little bit more to, what SCS is providing. SCS provides. And it's awesome to hear all those great resources and, where you guys are going. And anytime we partner with or find someone that has awesome resources for the community, we try to give them that platform. Getting on the bridge is a platform, but getting out in the community, boots on the ground, has always been a great platform. Please let our listeners know where they can find information on Springboard Community Services, email address, social media, all of that.
Our website is SCS, S as in Sam, C as in Charles, S as in Sam, M as in Mary, D as in David.org. You can go on our website, and that will connect you to all of our platforms.
Fantastic.
So you can go right there. You can give us a call here in our main office, 410-366-1980. And if you're interested in the foster grandparent program, just ask for the foster grandparent program and they'll transfer you to me, and we'll go from there. I'm happy to have new volunteers.
Rochelle, thank you so much for participating. I really appreciate it. It was a pleasure meeting you again, seeing you again, I should say.
Yes, definitely. You too.
I look forward to us both continuing bridging the gap when it comes to, in your particular case, seniors and young kids. In my case, research in the community. So it all makes sense here.
It does. Thank you.
Thank you, Rochelle. Appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to the Bridge Podcast. To learn more about the Patience Program, visit our website at www.patience.umaryland.edu.